Hey guys, this is Max, and in this video, I am going to demonstrate my MVP of Contrast Chrono. It is an automated cold plunge and sauna time tracker. This really came out of my own necessity of being a daily cold plunger. I always log how long I've spent in it, and I thought it'd be really cool to just have an automated service that could track when I'm in the cold plunge and record those results. So this has been made possible by two key things. One, it's the introduction of all these AI tools for coding. Coming from a product background, I don't really have an engineering background at all, but with these tools and just the ability to ask questions, I was able to figure it out. So that was really exciting. And the second piece was with roboflow. Being able to use their computer vision models was a game changer in being able to make this project happen. So I'm going to get started and we'll walk through a couple of the pieces. To kick it off, I'm just going to start to run my script so we can see um, the process kick off, and then we'll check back in on it. Uh, Out of the gate, I had mentioned that RoboFlow is a game changer, and what I meant by that is they have a person detection model that's off the shelf. So someone has already trained a model that detects people in a video. So I was able to leverage that using their this workspace in the workflow editor. The inputs are an image or a video. I'm using this object detection model. It's also giving me a bounding box, and then the output is the model, so all the predictions, and the output image. So that's the first thing that we were able to do. The script is running now. So this is just displaying the output image with the bounding box. So this is all courtesy of RoboVision detecting the person. And then you can see on the left-hand side, it is ingesting the data that is being sent to it. Specifically, it's getting sent the class name, so a person, and a timestamp. I will kind of circle back on what is happening over here. But first, let's go look at the code to kind of see what's happening underneath the hood. Within this app, we have four main components: the vision processor, the cold plunge tracker, the API server, as well as the front end code. We're going to dive in to each of these and just call out the high level features that make it all happen. Primarily on the vision processor, this is the code that's connecting to RoboFlow through the inference pipeline. We are able to connect, we leverage our API key and specifically call out which model we're using and send the video file. This is where RoboFlow will process each of the frames and send back predictions. Those predictions are sent back, and we, within this script, are doing two things with them. One, we are displaying that image with the bounding box so we can get a visual representation of what we're seeing is being processed and detected. And the second is sending those predictions in the form of detections back to the API server for further processing. The cold plunge tracker is the class that is maintaining state of the person. This is the logic that we've built out to categorize whether a person is in the plunge or not in the plunge, and how we can then calculate the timer for how long their cold plunge session was. At the highest level, we're using the detection data that's passed in, so whether the person was detected or not. We have buffers, a 3-second buffer before we change the state. And then we also have some grace periods and do some smoothing in case there is a blip in the detection data or not. But as you can see, there are 5 main states within the cold plunge. It starts out as not detected. Once the buffer time is met, of say 3 seconds. So a person is detected for more than 3 seconds, we'll change the state to the initial detection, and then so on and so forth. We'll go through to in plunge, session complete, and then detected again. I'll cover this more when we look at the live example. The API server has a couple functions. First, it is taking the detection data from the vision processor and passing it through to the cold plunge tracker. The second thing that it's doing is that when a session is completed, so after the cold plunge tracker identifies a session as complete, it stores that session in the database. And the final piece of that is it then creates a function that allows the front end code to be able to call on the database and retrieve those completed sessions. And finally, we have the front end code. So this is an Expo app today, so just a simple web app that is used to display the sessions for the user. Let's go check out the code to see how it's coming along. So just to kind of go through the main pieces of it, we have the state. So we covered those 5 states it could be. The frame of the video video time, and then whether a person was detected or not. And then finally, we have this temporary state timer that we can cover. So as the video begins, it's just the video of the cold plunge. There is no person detected. And I should clarify that these process detections, this is what is getting sent from the vision processor. We clarified that we want them to just send the class name and the person, and then the timestamp. So as the vision processor is sending class name and timestamp, the API server is running through its logic as well as the cold plunge tracker. So nothing's happening. Let's fast forward quite a few frames. Between frame 107 and 108, the vision processor now starts to send back new detection data and saying, hey, we are now detecting a person in this frame. So we identify that, yes, it's true, a person is detected. Let's start the buffer timer. Again, I had mentioned we want a 3-second buffer just to ensure that the person is either detected or not detected before we're changing state. So you can see over the next couple frames that the buffer timer is incrementing from 0.13 to 0.17 to 0.20, but the state has not changed. As we get to frame 200, which is right around the 3-second mark, you can see that our 3-second buffer is passed. A person is still detected. It's still true. So now we're changing the state to initial detection. And so as you can imagine, the person is, in this video, me walking up to the cold plunge. I'm detected. It sees me. I'm not yet in the cold plunge. Let's fast forward. As I am getting into the cold plunge, the roboflow model will no longer detect me, and after that 3-second buffer will classify me as in the plunge. Right at frame 460 here, we can see that the previous frame, it was passing in the detection of a person, and in the next frame, it's not passing in that person detection. So this person is no longer detected. We want to start that 3-second buffer to ensure that the person is actually no longer being detected. All right, and here we are at frame 552. The 3-second buffer has been reached. The person has been absent, has been no longer detected for the past 3 seconds. We're going to safely assume that they are now in the plunge and change their state to in the plunge. It's worth noting, we built in some logic here where if a person just is detected initially and then they go undetected, it's a very common thing where they didn't actually go in the cold plunge, but they just walked away and walked out of view. So I have this other reset timer in there. So if someone is detected initially, then goes undetected and is deemed in the plunge. If more than 15 minutes elapses, then it resets and goes back to non-detected. If you're spending more than 15 minutes in a cold plunge, good on you, but I think that's way too much. So, all right. So here we have it. State is still in plunge. Previous to that, no detection, no person was detected. But now in this next frame, we are detecting a person. So same thing, we are going to implement that 3-second buffer just to make sure it's the person actually getting out, that we're detecting the person frame after frame until we change the state to complete. All right, and here we have it. In frame 1202 and 1203, we can see that the 3-second buffer was passed. The person had been detected for 3 seconds, and we are going to log this as a completed session. Once the session is complete, it gets saved into the database, at which point the front-end dashboard is able to retrieve it. So this is super simple. haven't spent too much time on it. More was just aiming for functionality, but you can see, I've had 14 total plunges. The duration of this last plunge was 21 seconds, and the time of day at which I did it. So very simple today, but you can see the path for how it might evolve to have specification for sauna versus cold plunge, and just kind of fun metrics around it, streaks, all sorts of stuff. So excited to keep building it. One thing worth noting is that it was when building this, it was much easier to just use a video file that was short. The video was maybe 37 seconds long in total and had like me getting in and out of the cold plunge pretty distinctly. But how this project could evolve is using a camera that's continuously recording the cold plunge and the sauna, and having the software run locally so that whenever I get in the cold plunge and whenever I get in the sauna, it is just automatically tracking and logging those things. So that's where I'm working towards. But as you know or may not know, when building an MVP, it's much easier to reduce as many variables as possible, and just get it working, and then you can build from there. So hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for checking it out. Bye.